Good morning. Today we're going to be talking about BI in the cloud. So everyone is talking about the cloud, but there are very few people who actually know where that name came from. Back in the day, and by that I mean the 80s, not the dawn of time, just the dawn of the mullet. Everyone was drawing networking diagrams and using a cloud to represent the major communications infrastructure. And it's displaying a bunch of switches and servers. It's kind of hard to represent on a piece of paper. These networks were drawn as clouds on the diagrams, the same way that databases are represented as cylinders, or more commonly soup cans. Unlike a cloud, no one ever filed a patent on a database calling it a cylinder, but Compaq in 1996 filed a patent where they labeled their network computing resource interconnected to the network a cloud, and the name took off. I assume that the reason that you signed up today to hear me speak is that you've been hearing a lot about BI in the cloud and you want to know why. Why might you want it? What will it do for your company? Why is there so much about BI in the cloud in the industry press? Why are there so many companies, some of which you may have never even heard before, suddenly talking about BI in the cloud applications? Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because companies which have better information have shown to be more successful. Here's a bunch of quotes from other people who found BI to be more successful. Because it is shown to provide companies with a competitive advantage, there are many applications developed for it, targeting different segments for different reasons. The ability to provide business users with information wherever they are and be able to increase the amount of spacing on the fly are two of the big reasons that BI in the cloud is growing so much. It's providing value, not just software. This information is all over the industry press. Gartner says business intelligence analytics is the fastest growing software market. Forrester says market conditions are changing quickly. Firms need to make the best possible business decisions at the right time and base them on timely, accurate, and relevant information from business intelligence solutions. The repercussions of not handling BI change well are especially painful and may include lost revenue, lower staff morale and productivity, and continued proliferation of shadow IT, BI applications, and unwanted employee departures. MIT Sloan says that 58% of organizations now apply analytics to create a competitive advantage within their markets or industries, up from 37 just 1 year ago. Significantly, these same organizations are more than twice as likely to substantially outperform their peers. Ventana Research, cloud computing has improved the availability of applications and information. Those that use it see the largest benefits of the cloud as lowered costs, 40%, and improved efficiency of business processes. I could have gone and filled an entire presentation full of quotes, but you get kind of the idea of why people are talking about it. These are many organizations which have researched the industry and determined the same thing. Improving the level of information within your company will improve your company's performance. Today, I hope to provide you with three things. I want to show you some of the advantages of a cloud solution, and I want to provide you an overview of some of the major players in the industry. I'd like to show you what you need to look at when implementing BI, as there's areas you're going to need to assess to determine which approach will best fit your company. Cloud. What do people mean when they say something is in the cloud? Well, in simplest terms, it's data stored somewhere else. The U.S. Department of Commerce defines cloud computing as a model for enabling convenient, on-demand network access to a shared pool of configurable computing resources, network server storage applications and services that can be rapidly provisioned and released with minimal management effort or service provider interaction. Okay, I'm sure that made a lot of sense, or perhaps just confused the issue. Like many things, there's more than one type of cloud. If you've got an internet-based email like Microsoft Hotmail or Yahoo, your mail's in the cloud, a public cloud. If you don't know where your mail's stored, so you can get to it anywhere where there's an internet connection. Any commercial service delivered in the internet real time, from Azure to software as a service applications offered by Microsoft or Salesforce, is considered a public cloud. The private cloud is a place created and owned by a company where internal customers pick from a menu of metered services across virtualized infrastructure. Deutsche Bank is a common user of this, as they want to make sure that their information is all private. A hybrid is, of course, a mix of the two. A hybrid cloud is a computing environment in which an organization provides and manages some resources in-house and it has others provided externally. Hybrid clouds are popular because business can segment where they want the data to be stored and manage it appropriately, meaning customer data can be kept in a private cloud within the organization and less sensitive information can be hosted publicly. Hybrid clouds are getting to be the most popular type of cloud as they offer the best of both worlds. Their configuration of what is public and what is private vary greatly. This type of cloud is the fastest growing, and the most recent provider was Microsoft. Microsoft just announced a hybrid cloud project, which is going to be released tomorrow, Friday, October 18th. Interestingly, they are offering multiple versions of the hybrid cloud, including a version dedicated to the needs of U.S. governmental agencies, which is hosted and maintained, served by only people within the U.S. Now, before I start in all the details of Cloud BI, let's handle some presentation logistics. I'd like this to be somewhat of an interactive presentation because I'd like to hear from you. So let's talk about how to do that. You'll notice that there are some buttons on the top of the screen. Please click on the Ask a Question button whenever the mood strikes you. We will collect these questions and answer them at the end of presentation, so feel free to type whenever you have a question. I'd like to direct your question towards the Vote button because I'd like to ask you some questions. What I'd like to do is ask the questions to find out what kind of clouds people listening have already been deployed. So if you go ahead and click on your Vote button, then I can find out what kind of cloud that you've already been implementing. Hopefully this is working since I'm not getting any votes yet. All right, I guess this link is a little on the slow side. We'll wait a few minutes for people to get their votes in. I don't want to cut people off. All right, let's go ahead and view the results for how many people have deployed things to the cloud. Well, it looks like 64% of the people who responded said that they've implemented things to the cloud. Let's go ahead and look at what kind of applications people are sending to the cloud. Network storage, software as a service application, which is commonly within the industry called SaaS, or some kind of other hybrid, perhaps cloud presentation. Give it a few minutes for people to get their votes in on this. Okay, let's go ahead and review the results. Looks like most people have implemented a software as a service application. Nobody's looked at it for network storage, which is sort of interesting, and some people picked other. All right. So if you are interested, which I hope you are, in deploying a part of a data solution, such as ETL, a database or data visualization to the cloud, let's see, how many people are actively looking at this sort of implementation? Give a few minutes for people to get their votes in. Okay, I'll go ahead and review the results. As you might guess, there are a lot of people who are interested in deploying to the cloud, and some people who aren't, but they're here anyway. Well, thank you for that. If you answered yes, what's your time frame looking? What do you want your time frame to be for deploying to the cloud? Within the next 6 months, next calendar year, or within the next 2 years? Okay, let's go ahead and look at the results. Looks like most people are looking to implement a BI in the cloud solution within the next 6 months, and the rest are looking for next calendar year. Well, thank you for voting. I appreciate your input and gives me an idea of who's listening and what you're looking for. The last button that I wanted to draw your attention to is one called Rate This. At the end of the presentation, you'll see that button, and I hope that you use it to provide some feedback. A recording of this and other presentations we have available will be available after this presentation in case you wish to pass it on to someone else. Now for a little bit about me, so you know that I'm something other than a disembodied voice on the end of this computer. I thought I'd introduce myself and put a name to it. My name is Ginger Hastings, and I'm a senior consultant in the BI practice at Business and Decision. I have a technical background in databases, and specifically the Microsoft BI application set. I work in BI because I like it a lot. I find it a fascinating topic, and I hope I can show you some of the things that I find exciting. I've been coached not to get too technical in this presentation, so we're not going to get down to any code samples. But if you'd like to ask me a detailed technical question, I've included my email, so feel free to follow up if you'd like. In addition to what I've listed on the screen about Business and Decision, I'd like to stress that we are a solutions provider. We're looking to help you resolve problems within your business, and today we are targeting BI, but we do more than that. And now, back to Cloud BI. So that I can show you some of the advantages of a cloud solution, I want to discuss some of the following topics today. There are many different factors of a Cloud BI solution which you will need to target to be successful within your company. So we will be reviewing some of the Cloud BI benefits. The advantages and disadvantages you find in a cloud solution implementation greatly depend on what your benefit goals are. I'd like to discuss, the Cloud BI market trends. The market for the Cloud BI is rapidly changing, so I'd like to look down the road and talk about some of the emerging trends that you might consider when your evaluation of BI applications. We'll review the different ways that cloud is being used within Cloud BI so that you can see the way business intelligence and Cloud BI interact. Mobile applications are everywhere, including Cloud BI. We will be discussing some of the things that you need to think about. I want to provide you with an overview of some of the major players in the industry so that you might see what is involved in picking the right application for your business. Lastly, when you are evaluating BI, there are some areas you'll need to assess to determine which approach is the best fit. I'll show you what you need to look for so that you can build an appropriate solution for your company. How can Cloud BI help companies like yours? Well, there's no point implementing technology to implement technology. I've never been successful in getting anyone to implement new technology because I thought it was cool, and I doubt you will either. No, the reason to implement Cloud BI is so that you can use the information to improve performance. Competitive analytics is a feature in Cloud BI which is shown to reap synergistic results. In the past decade, there have been a number of improvements in technology which has been implemented in the database space to greatly improve the ability to parse through larger and larger data sets quickly. It is now possible to analyze more information to help make better decisions by allowing people to have more knowledge about various aspects of their business. They even created a new scientific field in 2003 to explore how to best analyze data. Depending on where you look, this is either called competitive analytics or data science. Applications have incorporated some of this research into various Cloud BI applications to improve the ability to measure data. How are you measuring performance? Are departments within the organization consistently performing well over time? Developing measures to visualize these answers to these questions can provide a lot of insight into different parts of your organization. By increasing the number of people involved in database decision-making, there are more stakeholders who are aware of how their actions impact key performance indicators. The best decisions are made by reasons that can be justified. The more people evaluate how things are working by having data available to them wherever and whenever they need it, they're more likely that everyone will understand what needs to be improved. All of this data analysis is migrated to the cloud for a number of reasons. One of them being that once people have access to all this information, they want it 24/7. And if they need more space, for whatever reason, it can be added within the hour. In order to compete with this level of service, your company would need to have servers in multiple locations powered by diesel generators and be able to instantly add more services if they're needed. If your business isn't in the business of providing fault-tolerant, redundant capabilities, but you do want to provide information 24/7, no matter what the weather, perhaps you might want to look at moving parts of your company's information to the cloud. I bet there's a lot of damp businesses in Colorado earlier this year that wish that they had thought about this. Cloud BI industry trends. Increasing user interaction means data is moving towards subject matter experts. One of the big pushes driving many of the tools for BI in the cloud is the desire to get data into the hands of people who are familiar with the business's needs. They are best capable to analyze aspects, and this is moving the data away from IT. This goal is one of the major features driving double-digit increases in most application companies that provide BI visualization tools. Forrester research analyst Keith Giles put it bluntly. He said the new users of business intelligence are everybody who makes a business decision. They don't really care how to build a query. Reports are being used in BI not only to reflect the current state of your business, but to determine what to do next. Using predictive analytics can allow you to gain insight into the minds of what people think even before they've made a decision. For example, let's think about the real estate boom in North Dakota. There are companies who have predicted this based on data cleansed from social media and Google Analytics to analyze the information people are searching. If you were in the business of providing services to people who are moving, this information can be used to determine the source of where people are coming from, and then you can figure out where they're going to so you can better target your business. Integration of data stored on cloud resources can be transparently integrated into BI solutions. Integration of information available in the cloud combined with the information you're gathering within your company can be a powerful combination used to drive decision making. For example, let's say that you're in the business of selling consumables for transportation. Being able to access information available from other sources like U.S. Census or the American Petroleum Institute and combining that with the data that you're collecting from your customers regarding their purchases of consumables needed for vehicle fleets can be very informative. As I will talk more about when we discuss some of the tools that are available, one of the features that people are finding very important in Cloud BI is geographic mapping visualization. Being able to combine location information for where, say, pumping values are coming from for long-haul trucks, information you might get from the American Petroleum Institute, combined with the purchasing information within your company can show a sales migration pattern. Knowing geographic distributions can help you know where you want to target expansion and marketing efforts. And you're going to have this information to see the trends before they even really start happening. Cloud BI in the marketplace. The reason that I wanted to bring up all these quotes is since you're here, I imagine you're going to be reading some of the trade press too. 38% of companies are planning a BI as a software as a service project before the end of 2003 from Forrester. Almost 39% of CIOs reported business intelligence and analytics stands out as a major development, CIO Magazine. Expansion into the cloud is fast becoming the preferred method of implementation for analytics and big data, Ventana Research. The amount of data in recent years has exploded. We are collecting more and more data, and since we have it, we want to keep it and see what else we can do with it. Cloud. Why go there? There are a number of reasons that you want to migrate applications to the cloud, and it just makes sense. Hardware is expensive to buy and maintain, and when you start storing a lot of data, this can be a really big concern. Another reason that cloud implementation might make sense is lack of resources at your company. There is a shortage of skilled IT staff, and it can be difficult to find qualified people as quickly as you'd like. This is a growing problem that everybody is talking about, from CIO Magazine to Congress, and I don't hear anything which leads me to believe that this issue is going to be resolved anytime soon. Another benefit of putting data in the cloud is you can expand your storage capability when you need it. You want to run a campaign which can increase the amount of data you need? No problem. I think many of you may be familiar with the popular website Instagram. When they decided how to deploy their website, they made the decision to store all their information in the cloud rather than maintain their own hardware. When Instagram went live, they had 1 million active users in 12 hours. Hopefully your business can grow at this kind of phenomenal rate someday too. If you had to buy servers to store all these accounts, I dare say it would probably take longer than 12 hours to make that happen. In the cloud, no big deal. store away. Lastly, from an accounting perspective, you may find it financially advantageous to move to the cloud based in some parts the recent regulatory changes by GAAP to the CapEx rules this year. There are some real positive aspects to your balance sheet if you're able to record your computing costs as an ongoing monthly OPEX cost rather than a CapEx hit where you can only depreciate the cost of a standard 5-year plan. The carry forward cost can be something to consider when determining which way to go. Business intelligence in the cloud. Time frames for analysis by business users has decreased, so there's a big desire to get some kind of an answer fast. Demands by users of business intelligence applications to just get it done and do it quickly are changing traditional database project time frames. There are some disadvantages to this model, as some of the data may not be very clean and may not provide the most accurate results. But oftentimes, a partial result is preferred to nothing. The goal of business intelligence is to empower the employees to make these decisions, even though the data may not be as perfect as IT would like. Having yesterday's data on a PC isn't always acceptable anymore. Simply put, Cloud BI allows the data your company is using to be accessed from a secured internet location for analysis. Anywhere you can surf the web or send a text message can be somewhere where you can monitor the performance of your business. How quickly the data is available for analysis is an individual integration process that needs to be custom developed for you based on your source data. Just as there is no such thing as one tool to rule them all, there is no definitive answer to how to make data available for analytics. This is one of the reasons a BI assessment is performed within your environment as one of the things to evaluate to determine these processes. Mobile BI. Gartner's top predictions for 2012. The movement to cloud computing and mobile devices highlights the reduction of control as consumers demand mobile devices increasingly over PCs. The end user often only needs a computer, browser-thin client, or mobile device to access cloud-based business applications. This access can raise a lot of questions around security. It is very important to have a model in place which can protect your data. For example, one of the ways Rombi is addressing concerning concerns is through its administrative feature, which can remotely delete any and all data stored locally off a tablet or smartphone. Mobile business applications have become a vital part of most organizations. The increase in maturity and adoption of mobile technology has created a workforce reliant upon instant access to information. Business intelligence is no exception. Although current adoption plans and perceptions may vary, mobile BI is a global phenomenon. It's available everywhere, all industries, all geographies, and all organizations. When it comes to integration with a mobile platform, there's a real big question about HTML5 or a custom application. This is something that's very interesting because every vendor out there will tell you, oh yeah, we've got the ability to see it on the browser. There's a difference oftentimes between an HTML5 and a native experience. This is most especially true on Apple and Android platforms, not so much with tablets. In contrast, many vendors want a browser-based HTML5 approach because then they can just write one set of code and migrate it everywhere, which is not the same as developing a custom solution for each phone. In-memory engines. In-memory engines are one of the neat technological things that have been improved upon to greatly improve the ability of applications to parse through data relatively quickly. By the application of vector algorithms, the same sort used in the digital film Toy Story, the time needed to parse through data has greatly decreased over the last 10 years. In-memory engines allow for the querying and analyzing from a computer's RAM, resulting in quick and simple data exploration for BI and analytic applications. The combination of the hardware improvements and memory and software changes has greatly improved analysis. The increase in speed is achieved not only by the ability to rapidly access data, but also to reduce I/O bottlenecking common with large databases. These I/O bottleneck issues are prevalent in SAN and high-performance storage arrays. Having the data loaded in memory eliminates these bottlenecks and leads to the ability to handle much larger data sets at significantly higher speeds, leading to shorter response times. 5 years ago, in-memory analytics was once an approach advocated by a few vendors like QuickTech and TIBCO. Now all BI vendors are including this technology. Tableau, SAP, Microsoft Power BI, and SQL Server 2014 are all implementing this technology. Major players in Cloud BI. Well, there are a lot of them. Most of them are the same that are leaders within Cloud BI. Gartner recently did a major survey, which is what I'm showing here. They've identified a number of these players, and some of them may not be around for very long, and some of them you may not be familiar with. So let's get familiar with what they're offering in the cloud space. Why are there so many companies in Cloud BI? Because they're offering specialized solutions targeting different specialties designed to serve different customer requirements. This makes selecting the right tool, or in many cases combinations of tools, rather complicated. I've listed the leaders in order here on the screen so that we can review them. I'll start off with Tableau. Tableau was originally started at Stanford based on a DARPA research project to create a visual representation of data for the government. And they employ a research team constantly researching the best way to display data. They span out of Stanford and became their own company in 2003. They've released a new version of this year to fully implement cloud-based solutions. Next one I'd like to talk about is ClickTech. ClickTech has been a leader in this environment for a long time. They announced their cloud deployment in 2009. They offer visualization to mobile and web deployment. Most people look to buy QuickView for its dashboard and data mart capabilities. It has a very robust in-memory engine, which is designed to show data quickly. It is, of course, not designed to work with cubes. It's one of its limitations. Microsoft is one of the more recent additions to the cloud space with their Power BI application. That platform is tightly integrated with Excel and SharePoint and available in the Office 365 cloud. Oracle's big entry into this is OBIE, which it combines some products that it bought from Hyperion and Siebel. Oracle has also recently bought Nimbula, which is a cloud infrastructure vendor, which was originally part of Amazon. They're looking to acquire cloud revenue and performance management so that they can implement their products tightly with their own cloud solution. SAS, they started working on BI in 2004 with visual analytics in the cloud. It's separate from their enterprise BI platform though, so when you're evaluating them as a leader, you need to keep that in mind. Interestingly enough, SAS only offers their cloud-based solutions in the U.S. because of the security concerns and restrictions about data being passed across international borders. They also have a mobile BI application. IBM offers a whole lot of projects that they are wanting to deploy to the cloud, including Cognos, SPS, algorithm services, analytic answers, and social media analytics software. Information Builders. Information Builders is their product is called WebFocus, which is their cloud deployment solution. And they're in the business of analyzing statistical models using a language created open source R. They anticipate that companies who purchase their products will have people on staff who are ready and able to create analytics tools in open source R language for hypothesis testing, clustering, and correlation analysis. So you have to think about your organization's strengths when implementing these tools as well. TIBCO Spotfire. Spotfire was bought by TIBCO in 2007, and it was originally designed to analyze web data using statistics. They announced on October 2nd, their next release, Spotfire 5, will include predictive analytics, which incorporates open source R. This is kind of a departure for them because they have their own analytics engine, which they call X+. Like Information Builders, they are anticipating that users will be creating their own complex statistical models, either using their proprietary language of S+, or with their next release, open source R. MicroStrategy. Their strength is taking data from other sources and putting it in a format which its analytics tools can use for display analysis. Microsoft's strategy is to partner with very big database companies such as IBM's NetGeos Appliance, Teradata, and ParExcel. Interestingly enough, with the big data implementation, mobile is also what they are looking to, and they have their own app rather than using HTML5 because they believe that to be a strength. SAP has several different cloud-focused products. HANA, they also own Business Objects, and they've rebranded their Visual Intelligent project, and they now call it Lumira. HANA is an in-memory analytic application for SAP, and Business Objects for the cloud, which was released in 2010, is their cloud-based solution. SAP also has invested in a custom mobile solution, so instead of HTML5 as well. Now, these are the challengers that I thought were definitely worth talking about, not only because Gartner highlighted them, but also because they are 100% cloud-based solutions. Burst allows you to connect to multiple data sources of structured and unstructured data, so you can create good-looking reports, which of course can be displayed on your phone using HTML5. They only offer in-memory solutions. Burst is actually sort of interesting because they include ETL as part of their product offering. With Burst, you create a data diagram for your data, and so they're kind of anticipating that you won't have a data warehouse already. If you do, perhaps you might want to look at a different solution. Logi Analytics was changed their name in March from Logi XML, and they are 100% web-based and focus on the creation of dashboards and portal deployed to any device using HTML5. So a lot of things to look at. So what should you look for when implementing Cloud BI? What questions do you want to answer? Do you want to provide visualizations in near real time? How consistent is your source data among systems and regions? Are you going to look for analytics to identify trends? Are you storing all the data you need to create those models? These are questions you might want to think about when putting together a Cloud BI assessment plan. You also want to look to an approach. I, again, can't stress enough that there is not a tool out there that can find and fix all of your issues, especially when they come to your source data. Some of the promises regarding ease of use with all these tools are also impossible to achieve. Data governance and quality issues still need attention. The cloud is not a magic wonderland of carefree computing, but a complex resource that requires understanding and hard work to manage it correctly. While there are many problems that want to sell you a tool that will solve all your problems, as my mother used to say, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Data governance, garbage in and garbage out, is a real problem for many data projects. You may need to thoroughly analyze your existing data to ensure that you can combine the data together to provide a meaningful picture of your operations. You might need to consider other tools other than visualization. Do you need to cleanse your data prior to display to improve the results? If so, perhaps you need to include a product like Microsoft Data Quality Services to resolve issues with your data prior to combining it into a visualization. Data evaluations. Do you want to include third-party information to improve your data visualization? Perhaps you want to geocode all your customer addresses so that you can create more accurate mapping. If so, you'll need to figure out which third-party libraries to integrate and how to integrate their information with yours. I want to talk about 5 things that you want to evaluate for the BI Cloud. One of the reasons driving this is the speed at which some organizations operate today outpaces the processing capability of the human brain, and that came from MIT Sloan. Keep a clear goals in mind for what you're trying to create. Are you interested in being able to distribute primarily to a phone? If so, you might want to consider a company which started as a mobile solution like Rombi. We've talked about a dozen different companies today that all provide Cloud BI services, and there are many others. Pentaho, Jaspersoft, Good Data, Yellowfin, Splunk, and Socrata, just to name a few. All of these companies have different strengths and weaknesses, which will determine which is the best tool for your company. Start thinking of what you need to do to predict the future. What are you going to need for predictive analytics? The goal of predictive analytics is a big selling point for BI in the cloud, but you need to have that information early enough that you can plan rather than react. You may have heard this before, but this still bears thinking upon. Today's Wall Street Journal costs $2. They are able to sell a whole lot of papers at this price. But how much would you pay to have tomorrow's Wall Street Journal today? It can be priceless, as there are many economic benefits that you could be gaining by having this information 24 hours in advance. You need to also consider what the need is for your data across international borders. Regulatory issues are a big issue for data traveling across international borders. The rules are complex and company specific. For example, the privacy laws in Switzerland demand that private data, including emails, must physically be stored in Switzerland. One of the best ways to resolve these complex issues is to work with an integrator who's knowledgeable with complex legal requirements to ensure the design that your company creates adheres to all these existing laws. Business and Decision is based in France and has experience with implementing international business intelligence solutions. Licensing. Determining which tools you need to create your BI in the cloud solution can result in a myriad of licensing issues. It's not always apparent what you're going to need for licensing, and that factor can greatly involve the cost of your project. I'd like to open this up for questions. I see that I have some, so I'm going to go ahead and see what kind of questions we have today. Okay, this is a really good question. Since the volume of data is huge and stored off-site near a less expensive source of power for warehouses of servers, how secure is data stored and how is it secured? This, of course, depends upon which cloud services that you purchase. They all provide various security models to ensure that the data is, although stored in a commingled solution, is only available to you and restricted to access that you require. Another question that I have is, what are some of the differences between private and public cloud options? It's a really good question. With a private cloud, you control everything. You control who has access. You control what kind of security that's involved in it, but that's also a big responsibility. Got another question. Can we move from a public to private option easily? I never say easy when it comes to moving somebody else's data, as that's never an easy question. One of the ways that this is currently being handled today is with a hybrid model. So perhaps going from a private option to a hybrid option and then go private, or the reverse would be a best way to navigate this area. I'd like to wrap it up by hoping today that you've learned where the cloud came, more than just where the cloud name came from, and think about the advantages of cloud solutions as the ability to rapidly expand. I hope that your business gets so big so fast that you need lots of server space very quickly, just like Instagram. There are a lot of applications out there, and we only talked about a dozen or so, and all of them insist that they will solve any problem you have. There's no way they can all be right. A careful analysis of the strengths and weaknesses required to determine which will work best in your environment. It's also important to note that there are a lot of issues surrounding data. Business and Decisions has expertise in the use of cloud systems subject to regulations, for example, with the Food and Drug Administration. Having to navigate specific industry requirements is very important when determining what kind of solution that you are looking to implement. I encourage you at this time to click on the rate this button so that you can rate this presentation. I really would enjoy hearing your feedback. If you have any additional questions on Beyond the Cloud or for anything else, please use the email contact.us@businessanddecisions.com. I hope that you enjoy this presentation and will considering coming to a future one. The next one is on October 24th. Making the shift to customer centricity, and this will explore modifying the focus to discovery and meeting customer goals and preferences and away from leveraging the customer. Thank you very much, and I appreciate you spending your time with us today.